Okay, so before we get started with the programming, I just wanted to announce I've been doing 4Coder Fridays on Fridays for, I don't know, a month or two, and looking at different parts of the 4Coder code base. I'm kind of at the point where I think I've done enough of those uh, for myself for now. I can't think of anything else I wanted to dig into on 4Coder. Um, it was pretty exciting having some 4Coder momentum in the community, and so I might think about how to do another 4Coder project to help move 4Coder stuff along. Maybe look at the BYP quality of life layer or something like that at some point. I don't know exactly what it'll be. But for now, I'm going to take a break from 4Coder Fridays because I just wasn't feeling it and I don't have any ideas. And I am halfway through developing some new stuff in BinDash, some visualization work. So I figured we'd work on that today. So just to show you, give you a little intro to what we're working on here. I have this new system that I want to be able to get up and running, which is, you can see how I've got these like boxes around. This is a bad file to view this with. Let's look at this. And see how we put like these little boxes around certain chunks now? It's not just a colored background and colored text, but there's like an outline around it. Right? And I want to be able to make the like box things like that freely. So I just want to be able to mark a range in the hex and say put this inside a box and have that work. And so I've built that. You can see that's what we've got. It's working. So this is what I just described is here and working. But I want it to run faster. And you can see if I open up a file that's not just a tiny generated file, but like a full executable output by my compiler, I'm getting frame rate issues. And those go away if I switch to method 2, which is the point. I'm trying to speed it up now, make it run fast enough to keep it around. And so now we're running at full speed again, but the boxes have disappeared because method 2 isn't fully working yet. So that's what I want to work on right now. Why isn't method 2 actually working? Method 2 is method 1 I involved looping over the entire range of the hex like grid and finding where there needed to be borders and putting the borders down. So it involved a lot. This just makes the 8 separate rectangles that need to exist to box in a range of the hex grid. So it's just one, there's no loop here, it's just one pass through. It should be possible, in theory, to make this work, but nothing's showing up. So, there we go. So let's take a look at just the output computations here. I do, obviously, it's not working, so I know from just that there are some issues, but there's also like possibilities that things aren't working conceptually. Okay. Okay, So why don't we do this? Show me... Oh, you know what? Okay, here's my first thought, actually, now that I think about it. The style. I didn't set the style for these boxes, so maybe they're just there in the correct locations, but invisible. That would be great. That would be a great discovery that this is already working. We're good to go. Okay, perfect. So it's not perfect. And the view isn't applied yet. Right. There's the view. Perfect. Now, I need to figure out what's up with these coordinates that are making them wrong. But let's see. What do some of these other... Yeah, it looks like consistently the one that's supposed to go there is doing something wrong. That's number 7. So number 7... I realize I need to draw this for you in order for anyone to be able to follow what I'm thinking. Oh, let's make it quick. Boom. Mike, come over here with me. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Try again. Boop, 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 boop. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? And now, that's our coloring. Let's do, or numbering. Let's do blue like this to put in some coordinates here. So this right here is called X. Zero. This one is X B0. This one is X B1, and this one is X1. This one is Y0. YB0. YB1. And Y1. Okay. Now that's cool and all, but I've kind of fibbed to you in one way, which is that this nicely and cleanly assumes things like XB0 is going to be less than XB1 and YB0 is going to be less than YB1. There are actually multiple cases here. What I can't do with this diagram that I'd like to be able to do is click and drag these around and show you how the black section is supposed to change, how that box is supposed to change. Basically what's going to happen, XB0 tells us how far in the first line is there. YB0 tells us the height of that first line that gets chopped out. So it's like you can imagine we have a rectangle here, X0, Y0, X1, Y1, and then there's a little corner missing on the top left and bottom right, and the XB0 and YB0 tell us how much to dig in to carve out that top left corner, and the XB1 and YB1 tell us how much to dig in to dig out this corner here. And so the possibilities include a shape that looks like this as one of the combinations, right? It's possible to get a couple of rectangles looking like this, where XB1 is over here, or XB0 is this one, and XB1 is this one, and YB0 and YB1 are equal, so they look like this, right? And then it should draw the 8 segments like this, numbered, again, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Okay. Now what appears to be wrong is segment number 7, this one, appears to be using the wrong coordinates. Right here, x0 plus 2 can't be right. That's probably supposed to go to xb1. There we go. Why is the green... Okay, so this is where there's starting to be some inaccuracies in my structure for doing this. Like, you can see orange here is wrong. So that's segment number 1, and its x is too small. It should be going over to xb0, but it's going over to xm0. So I have these computations here that take the min and max of the b0s. I thought that would help, but looking at it now, I'm realizing that's just wrong. I'm not quite sure how to do the cases yet. We'll get there. We'll get there. Okay. So that looks correct. That looks correct. That looks correct. That's correct. That's correct. That's correct. Here we go. Okay, so you can see right here, the pink is wrong. There's a little bit too much. It's so small. Can I get a magnifying glass? I don't know if everyone can see the results of magnifying very clearly. Maybe this was a bad idea. Magnifying glass. I thought the magnifying glass worked differently. You can stop. That was not what we wanted. Let's try it this way. No, capture region, this section right here. Let's edit this image. You can see right here that, like, this should be a little block of green pixels, but it's pink because, well, I'm not sure why. One of these pink segments is going too far. It should stop sooner. I'm not sure which one it is. I'm not sure if it's this one coming left or this one going up. But in order to figure out what it is. What I need to do is I need to switch over to a different case that will make it a little easier to isolate and study the problem. So, hexbox push, scratch arena, box list. Let's say we want a message that's going to run from 10 to 20. Color ID pop. And I don't see it at all. Oh, that says 10 and 10. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, so they're all being funky now. Okay. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna zero out all of these and we'll add them back in one at a time. So index 0, is that doing what's expected? Or is it running afoul? 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, that fits. Index 1. Zero, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wait. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. It should be stopping there, but it's going all the way to there. So this is the part where it would be appropriate for it to use the min. Okay. Maybe these are a little bit off, though. If yb0 is greater than or equal to yb1, then xm0 equals xb1. Maybe this is the logic I actually need. Like this, right? If these are this far, then we swap those. But that's not quite it either. Now I think it's just a min and max. I think that's the right idea. Okay. That looks good. Here are 2 and 3. Okay, that's not quite right. So 0, 1, this must be 2. 2 must be wrong. It's starting from xb1 when it should be starting from xm1, I think. But that can't be right exactly either, because it is off by 2. Alright. While we're at it, 16, 17, 18, 19. Yeah, these shouldn't be spilling over into the blue like that either. Which ones are responsible for that? That's 0, 1, and 3? Yeah, these aren't right. At least not in this case. Okay. Another thing I can do here, before I go and do that, I'm going to do debug. These are going to be just okay. X0, 0, rect Y0, X0 plus 1, rect.Y0, or Y1. X1, X1. Hi, welcome to the chat. Okay, so that gives my X0 and X1 guidelines. I also want an XB0. Let's do it this way, actually. Not sure what I was thinking before. Good question. That reminds me, before I tell you about the jars, I did get to set up the programming candle. The jars aren't for the programming. They're, I've got my pencil top erasers, my Jenga blocks, Canadian money, just all kinds of random stuff in my jars, candles, and the one that's too big for me to grab. The empty ones, I don't know yet. Whatever additional bits and pieces I want to keep around. But I also need to get my programming candle going. I skipped that. Okay, guidelines for the X's, and then guidelines for the Y's. X0, X1, Y1, YB0, YB1, Okay, so now I can see the guidelines. X0, XB1, XB. I can't tell which one's the B0 and B1 because they're the same color. But oh well. One, two, and then those all hit the same line, I assume. One, two, two, right? Like, there's two of them there. That's why it's brighter. Okay, got it. So there's my guidelines. What I want to see is, okay, so we were making progress unveiling these and seeing if they check out. Let's see if this one checks out. Okay. Check, 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 check. All those appear to be doing the right thing. Check, check. Those appear to be doing the right thing. That's the right thing. And that's the right thing. Okay, so those coordinates are working. Let's try now. Modifying our coordinates. So 10 to 20 is good, but what if I wanted to run from 4 to 18? No, sorry. 32, 28. Alright, now things are off again. We can see some holes popping out. There and there. So, I wish I could zoom in easily. Try this. Boom. Alright, now I can see more clearly without having to zoom in. So, 0, 1. 1 is supposed to go 4 farther over. So this is going to XM0. So I think that what needs to happen is that needs to be... The +4 needs to happen here. Or rather, the plus thick. I think that's the issue. Yeah, so that works. And then similarly, this one needs to go XB1 minus thick. Okay, so that works. Now, of course, we got to switch it back, make sure the other case works. There we go. There we go. Okay. So I think that'll do it. I can switch back to coloring those, turn off the debug lines, and we expect to see... Oh, that's still not right. How is that happening? Interesting. So this one is... Oh, right. Okay. Thick minus thick. This is actually XM0, and this is actually XM1. Okay. There we go. And now, no performance issues, everything's working. I can also adjust the thickness now, which is cool. There we go. Okay, so that has sped up boxing by quite a bit. That's good to have. Let's commit to that change. Cool. Let's have a little cookie break. So, yes, I can compile with Clang. I haven't usually found that it's faster, though. But yeah, I can switch which compiler I'm using over here. Yeah, it's interesting. I've always thought Clang was slower. References to things I don't know about make me do a lookup. Okay, okay. I like it. Okay, this is an interesting mystery. Someone in the chat here, screen name Rust Compiler, saying I don't use Unity build. My codebase compiles 30 seconds with MSVC compared to 5 seconds with Clang. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Usually my experience is the other way around. That Clang is better for features and like you can like I like being able to configure stuff on Clang. But I always thought MSVC was better for speed. But you're not using a Unity build, so maybe it's link time. Does the when you build, some questions. When you build, do the C file names show up quickly and then it's the link line that takes forever? Or does like each C file take a while? Also, are we talking about C or C++? That's another maybe important question. And how so interesting. No, I don't know why it would be that you'd be getting... I just generally find it the other way around. Like, I can do it again to demonstrate. That's Clang. Here's CL. It's just a little bit faster, too. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know why you would be getting a slower compiling time with MSVC. That's not my experience. But honestly, it just might depend on the code or the exact versions or something. I've also seen like mystery problems where like I had a code base that I was sharing with someone at work and their computers always seem to run the build slower Even if we were on the same compiler, both checked out the same exact copy of the repo, and it would take it twice as long on their computer. And we believed it probably had something to do with the security system that the company installed. Yeah, the virus scanner stuff can really just screw with compile times a lot sometimes. Okay, so that's cool. Let me think for a minute about what else you want to work on. Underlining. Stripes. I definitely want to use stripes. I also need the ability to draw an arrow. Hmm. Yeah, as far as visualization stuff goes, being able to draw arrows will help a lot with this project. And being able to, we can do underlines quite simply with what I've already got. Although there is a sort of second idea here, which is, can I double underline? Can I make underline like 2 channels worth of underlines or something? Or can I make them automatically stack on each other nicely or anything like that? I'm not sure. Okay, well, I think what we'll do, I'll probably try to work on being able to do an arrow next. I think that's going to be a significant primitive for this project. But before that, let's clean up the one I just did. So we don't need the slow method anymore. The fast method is working correctly enough to just go all in on that. And the parameters are all goofy because they were just sort of like determined by whatever I needed to get it up and running. But now I want to simplify it down to the parameters that are actually involved at a fundamental level. So let's see here. Let's actually map out what this is doing. Gotta get this computer to stop being squeaky someday. So the first step is the hex box gets mapped to some X and Y coordinates. Yeah, I think that's the appropriate first step. first we map the range of the hex box to... What do I want to call this? It's not a rectangle, but it's sort of a paragraph, or it's a wrapped range, or it's a grid range, something like that. I don't know. I'm going to give it a long name because it's very specialized. This is a hex grid range coordinate. And we'll write down what that means. It's an x0, y0, x1, y1, xb0, yb0, xb1, yb1, right? So that's what the hex grid range coordinates are. And that's what this part is. This is coordinates from range, from there all the way down to here. And now we have those coordinates. Here, this is doing, all of this is the render from coordinates. And for that, we need a color, a thickness, and the coordinates themselves, and the rest is automatic. So that is color. Try that again. Color, and I'm just going to simplify this down to coordinates. And thickness. And out pops the boxes for my lower level rendering. Okay, and then of course the hex box has the ability to provide the range and the color. So a hex box comes in, we send the range through this, then we send the color and the coordinates through this, add in a thickness, and out pops the boxes we need. So composing all of that together is a thing that takes hex boxes to boxes. So I think what we'll do, I'm going to take a 5-minute break, and when I come back, we're going to decompose the code that I've currently got into these pieces, because this is a potentially useful reusable primitive. And this is a potentially useful reusable primitive. And then I can glue them together with this and these together. I can recreate the function I already have. And hopefully along the way I can work out what these other little hidden parameters are. These are the ones I don't want to have to think about, because as I was sketching it, these are the ones I wanted to think about. I like thinking about these parts. These are the annoying crap that actually exists. Gotta marry the two. But 5-minute break. 5-minute break means I'll be back in 5 minutes. It also means you can hang out here with this cool little five-minute break message. Alrighty, be back shortly. Alright. I'm thinking I'll put on a little quiet background music for myself and work on this factorization question now. Cool. So call this a grid box. Later, Turner. Gotta be careful. When I turn the volume up on my mic, I also turn the volume up on my feedback. Gotta turn the music up by going to the music slider. There we go. See you later, paging, if you're still here. That's so much. Whoop, there's a bug. Wait, that's not a bug necessarily. Um, right, that's strange. Um, yeah, but it is, if it is what I think it is, then it'll be easier to spot on this one. Yeah, there we go. That right there is a good example of the problem. Okay, so to debug that one, okay, so here's the deal. Some of these lines are doing the wrong thing. I gotta figure out which ones they are. So we're gonna do the one at a time thing again. The case that I didn't have covered is when the box is just, I had the case where the box is big and it has many lines, and I had the case where it's like one line and it's split across two lines that don't connect. There's also the case where it's all fits on one line, and that's the one that's busted down. So start with line number 0. Okay. Line number 1. That one's bogus. Okay. So what is leading to the case where this is bogus? It's doing a line from x0 to xm0. xm0 is xb0 plus the thickness. But that one and that one aren't necessary when okay, theory. If I blot out this one, 0, 1, 2, no, that's not it. 0, 1, 2. And then for verticals, 5, 6. Oh man, that's confusing. X B0, Y0, Y B0. Y0 to YB0. I think. I think those are the ones I need to blot out, and then it'll work. No. turn them all on. I know that one needs to be on. I know that one needs to be off. Let's see. One at a time here. Here we go. Okay. Well, hold on. Before I do this, I don't get how there's still... You know? The main problem here might just be that I need to do the x0, x1 coordinates the right way in this case. Basically what's happening in this case is yb0 is equal to y1 and yb1 is equal to y0. Yeah. Okay, what's the right way to break this down into multiple cases? The prototypical case, the split line case, and the single line case. Here, we're looking at yb0 is greater than or equal to yb1. That's also what we have here. So here yb0 and yb1 are equal. Here yb0 is here, yb1 is here. And so, thinking of these as carving out portions, well, okay. The way I think that I should really think about this, let me see if this mental model works, is that we're looking at like a union of rectangles here, and there's one rectangle here, and there's one rectangle here, right? And so those are the rectangles that are formed by x, b0, y0, x1, yb1, and x0, yb0, xb1, y1. Now over here we have yb0, or xb0, y0, x1, yb1. Yep, so that's this rectangle here. Oh, you know what I should have done? To use two colors. Forget green, let's do yellow. It's gotta be a yellow that'll stand out against the white though. Okay. That is xb0, y0, x1, yb1, and then boop. x0, yb0, xb1, y1. Right? And then over here, we have the blue rectangle. It matches that description. The yellow rectangle matches that description. But what about in this case? What's going on? Well, let's see. xb0 is here. Yeah, this is where things get weird. So the way we're submitting the coordinates, there's kind of a x0, y0 main rectangle that goes around the whole thing. And in this case, it can look like this with the way I'm doing the coordinates right now. So xb0 is right here. Y0 is right here. X1 is over here. YB1, yeah, so what would happen is like this would be the yellow rectangle and this would be the blue rectangle. And this is why it's all busted. Okay. So that way of looking at the cases does not generalize to this case. Right? That way of looking at the system doesn't actually handle that case. So let's try again. Come up with a different story about why the cases show up the way they do. We're looking for a generalized form of the description of this behavior. Okay, again, this time let's focus on this version of the story. There's the surrounding rectangle. And there's a certain amount that gets carved out. Okay, this one actually works. So we have the amount getting carved out drawn with the rectangle that's carving it out, right? So there's the original rectangle, x0, y0, x1, y1. And then there's a certain amount carved out of that rectangle by the the B0 case, or the B0 coordinates, right? So that tells us, starting from the top left corner, dig that much in and chop it away. So that's where the shape comes from. But the outlines, so that is the thing to the right of the blue segment. That is the thing to the left of the yellow segment. All of that got pushed up. What is this segment here? If it were this one, it would have to go all the way to that edge. That's the thing. The X segments usually go... Okay, so it just has to be a separate case. Because... here and here, the segments all touch, the horizontal segments all touch either the left edge or the right edge. If it's going to be possible to have a case where it doesn't want to touch either edge, then I don't know how that's going to work in the same path. You know, when I go to put these down, I just need to be able to recognize, hey, this is a case where... What happens if YB0 is equal to Y1, but YB1 is not equal to Y0, right? I guess that these two exist if and only if this does not consume the whole thing. If it does, then a different case happens for this segment here, and those two get eliminated. I'm going to go zoom in a little bit so I can label the segments. 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just looking for a simple formula that catches all of them, and it's tough. It doesn't quite exist. Right, like if I start thinking about this as a pair of rectangles again, like I was doing up here, it just gets so close but doesn't quite work. I can't quite figure out how I would generalize to this sort of situation where the YB0 goes all the way down. That would always eliminate something that was using YB0 as its top. But it doesn't actually eliminate this middle thingy. What if it's 3 rectangles? Three columns, x0 to the min of these two, the space between these two, and the max of these two to x1. That's just one rectangle. That's just 2 rectangles, with the space in the middle eliminated. And when there are 3 rectangles and none of them are eliminated, we're in one of these cases. That already works. Okay. Mm, I don't love that. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. This method doesn't quite work because it's possible for there to be two rectangles and the middle one be empty, or one of the edge ones to be empty. But them to actually touch each other. This isn't just when two of them are empty, or the outside ones are full and the middle one is empty. It's when the outside ones are there, the middle one is empty, and they don't even touch each other. It's harder. It's harder than I wish it would be. I wish it would just be a simple formula, but I can't find it. Okay, let's try this. So here they are separated. This can't be right. Although it's looking kind of right. It's at least right for now. Until I find something else to use it for. Yeah. Okay, that worked on all of them. Well, okay. That's it. I guess that's it. Don't love that. I guess maybe I'll leave a Um. Okay. Okay. So that's some cleanup on. That's enough. That's enough work on cleaning up that factorization there, but I'm not done refactoring. So that's the render, the box render logic for this. The worst part about it is I have to stylize it by hard parameters here. I'd kind of like to not have to do that because we're supposed to be able to set parameters with the style system. Like style parameters are supposed to be controlled by this language, but now I'm running into a case where I want to procedurally use a slightly different variant of the style. It's either an outline box or it's a background color with the boxes chosen to be specifically the right sizes. Thinking. Okay. Okay. This part is definitely correct. How we're calculating the coordinates. The only thing that you might complain about is the fact that I use x0 and x1 to cover the whole range and then carve in, but the logic of how that works, it is pretty appropriate. Okay. Okay. Okay, and this is good enough now that we can just drop it in right here. Nice. Okay, so I think that's a good spot to stop for today. Basically, we finished getting the optimized render for the boxing working correctly, and then factorized it to be nice, so I can now deal with it a little more easily in the future. Some other stuff I still want to handle are being able to draw arrows. That's going to be a whole thing, so I don't even have the ability to do good triangles right now. So I want to be able to draw arrows. I want to be able to draw like a margin with stripes on it for marking up ranges. I want to be able to draw underlines on the view. So I want to get back another round and do some more of this. But boxing is working, and that's cool. It's a good start. Yeah, I think I want to work on a few more of these rendering primitives in the future, but yeah, I think this is a good stopping spot for this stream today. Thanks for coming and checking out what I'm working on. This has been the BinDash project. If you'd like to follow it and everything else I'm working on, go over to MrForth.com. I've got a newsletter where I post news about, once a month or so, but if you want more regular updates, you can become a supporter or even a member, and then you can check out the code as I'm working on it and check out the index video library, and you support me to keep these projects going. And it's greatly appreciated whenever anyone makes the decision to do that. I'm counting on everyone who can and who values what I'm doing to go and become a part of this. So with that, I'm going to sign off for today. Thanks for coming and checking out what I'm doing, and I'll see everyone around the internet. Bye.